do the meeting if you turn everything off.
Well, no, I'll turn it off until we go live.
Okay. But then I
I
gotta
don't care
cut
if
it.
You
No,
know,
no, no,
honest to
wait.
God, no, I'll leave it on for 15 minutes. I don't care if somebody's.
Well, but then I'll have to cut it. So why don't we hang tight or show Mary Ellen how to do it real quick?
Oh man, I've got this wicked. Now I'm watching myself live on YouTube.
Yeah, so close the YouTube page completely.
Okay, it's closed.
Okay, now you're fine.
Okay, so then what do you want me to do?
That's it.
It says this meeting is being live streamed.
Yep,
Got
it
it?
says it's live on my screen too.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. I will unmute you in a minute so that you don't have to listen to every conversation, okay?
Okay.
Let me do it and then I'm gonna turn it back on and make sure that I didn't screw it up, okay?
Okay. No, I can't.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right, I'm gonna mute you then.
All right.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me? Miss Figi. Lisa.
Did you need me, Matt?
No, I just wanted to make sure you could hear.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Just so you know. And just so everybody here knows, Lisa's not feeling well. So she is doing minutes from Zoom, and Mariana's doing sort of supplemental notes. So please speak up so she can hear you. Okay? At least,
Well, that's true. She was being facetious. Two rays and roll. 3 on. This one. Readings. Okay, on the other side. I guess Lisa didn't make it through the day, huh? I saw her early this morning. She said she couldn't hear.
It's not like an airplane. We can't take off the road. Even if we have a tailwind. I came back home, fixed the flight this morning. I was sitting in the lounge in Boston. The guy, my daughter, my brother, and they left like, they closed for like 15 minutes early. Because nobody's working. Everybody got already gone on. And then some guy came out in the hall and yelled and said, last call. Sitting there eating breakfast. And I never seen it. They were like, they were 15 minutes ahead of schedule. So did you like it? Yeah. I was like, well, he's here. I thought I could have gotten on another plane to come in. But they didn't mess around. Well, everybody was checked in. I guess for them, just kept me in my phone. So they I guess maybe everybody checked in. Yeah. But that's not everybody. It's you and your brother. No, no. I know there's probably something in the fine print that says you can show up half an hour. We're on here, we're live on. Call the meeting to order here, the town council meeting for October 25th, 2021. We have a roll call.
Mayor Fletcher Foskey,
Present.
Councilmember Robert Bloxham,
Here.
Councilmember Ray Berger,
Here.
Councilmember Thelma Gillespie,
Here.
Councilmember Joy Marino,
Here.
Councilmember Sarah Knox,
Here.
and Councilmember Mavis Oswald.
Present.
We have everyone present and we have a quorum.
Thank you. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry. Alrighty, a couple, can anybody hear me first of all? If there's any problems with, yeah, okay, if any problems? That's good, they're on, good, okay. If you have problems hearing us, please let us know. That's sometimes can be a problem for people sitting in the back. A couple acknowledgements that we lost a couple people in the community over the last couple months. I don't know if Mary Ann Connolly, who ran the, she passed away, and then of course Miguel Risotto, and they were two stalwarts of our business community. I'd like to recognize them. They were just added so much to the town of Hancock that can be greatly missed. I think we already acknowledged Willie Crockett earlier. So, anybody has any other names that would like to be acknowledged, just let me know. I can say it before the meeting. But it's kind of a nice thing I think we should do for citizens. All right. Consideration and approval of meeting minutes from September 27th. Council, has everybody had a chance to read those? I'm sure. Any additions or corrections, anybody?
Yes, I do. Mary Ellen, on page 3, council comments, it said that Councilman Marino shared her concern over a dead rabbit box in the yard. A striped rabbit, it was not, please. I don't want to cause any alarm. Thankfully, it's not.
Anybody else have any corrections there? Can I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented? As amended? As amended, yeah. Second? Second. Discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Carried, thank you. Public business, we have no public business scheduled. We will allow public comment after the next item here. Council discussion, comprehensive plan discussion. Planning Commission, you or Matt?
Okay. So I was not able to be here last month, but I understand that the comprehensive plan was brought up as discussion item with potentially action on it. No action was taken, as I understand it from the minutes and talking to Matt. There were several council members who wanted to have additional time to look at it. I believe that Matt and Fletcher asked anybody with any questions or comments to provide them to Matt within a period after the last meeting. So everybody has had ample opportunity to do that. At this point, the document, comes to council with the recommendation of Planning Commission to be approved. By way of history, we actually started this process in 2018 when Bill Kerben was here. And with the help of Jim McGowan started, we didn't get very far, obviously, until the point at which Matt took over. But Planning Commission has done an awful lot of work on this over the last 15 months. And there's been thoughtful comment by the public and by the commission members. Is the document perfect? No. Is it good? Yes. The old saying, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, comes into play with respect to this. And certainly there are very significant ramifications for us not having a comprehensive plan adopted. We're woefully tardy in getting this done. We are very much out of compliance with state code. Matt can speak to the ramifications that are actual and real associated with not having one. So again, Planning Commission has brought this to the council with recommendation for approval, and Mr. Mayor, I make the motion that we approve the comprehensive plan as submitted.
And we've had the public hearing,
You
right?
need a second. You got it.
Yeah, do we have a second on this?
I second that.
Okay, okay, discussion? Everybody's happy with it?
I would like to make a comment. 3 years ago, Keely and I sat at a meeting at the Eastern Shore Community College with the RAFT, which is the Resiliency Adaptation Feasibility Tool, with ODU, William and Mary, and UVA. And Hancock scored the lowest of all the communities in this county because we did not have a comprehensive plan. And it was embarrassing.
Well, we had one, it just wasn't. we didn't do it.
Right,
Yeah,
it was, well, they would not accept.
Right, it
what
was
we
out
had.
of date, yeah. right.
Yeah, so, we've been waiting for this, you know, and I made the comment at the last meeting, I was fine with what we had, and it was time to have a new comprehensive plan.
And I don't think we should lose the fact that it's a living document. It is our duty to revise it as things change. And as I mentioned to somebody the other day, it is not a roadmap. It's pointing us in a direction. The roadmap gets developed by this group, but we've got to have that, we got to be directionally correct at this point. And this document does that and more.
Okay, call for the vote here. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, well, thank you very much.
You know, I would like to thank the planning
Yeah, I was
commission
gonna say,
for
yeah.
a lot of hard work. And as you guys saw, we've lost our chairperson, which is a shame. She's done a wonderful job over the years. But thanks to the planning commission for putting a lot of hours into this, and Matt for putting the most in.
Yeah. All righty, well, move on. Public comment. Anybody have any public comment? I think we all have copies of
We
your.
all have, yeah, I just, didn't think I was gonna make it here tonight, so I wanted to email you all ahead of time. Brenda Smith, 12 Market Street. We purchased our house in Bangkok in 2009, expecting to retire here and become part of a family-oriented, safe community. We've lived here full-time for 5 years. 2018, my husband and I started noticing small changes around town. Beautification had become a priority while attention to laws decreased. We've seen the kayak park established, harbor master's house renovated twice, the gazebo area, trees and shrubs planted and replanted, parking area improvements on King Street. In the same time, we've noticed police patrols, which had been a daily experience, became almost non-existent. There was a noticeable increase in illegal parking. Parking in front of fire hydrants, parking close to corners, stop signs, and parking in no parking zones. On several occasions, we brought our police concerns to the attention of the mayor and council and to the township manager. We were told more than once that the police department is short-staffed. They hired people, trained them, and then they left for better positions. We noted that Hancock advertises that it has its own 24-hour police force. And at that time, even then, it simply was not true. Sometimes it seemed trivial to complain about not seeing police patrols and about people's disregard of parking laws. But we felt that our taxes were paying for police coverage and also that the character of Hancock was sliding downhill. In the last year, I've encountered several drunk people walking the streets of Hancock, Market Street and North Street. The latest in September was midday Market Street. A couple who had their beers, and I could clearly see there were Miller Lights in koozies. A regular patrol would have spotted this. On Sunday night, October 17th, my purse was taken from my car. Well, I was careless. I usually don't leave it in the vehicle. My car was parked in my driveway. This happened at 8:15 p.m. My husband and I saw it as an indication that Hancock was continuing to go downhill. First, little police presence and a general disregard for rules in town. Then you get rifling through cars, looking for loose change and items that are easy to sell. They probably figured they hit the jackpot with my purse. Next comes breaking and enterings, and then you get muggings. Sure enough, Tuesday morning, Hancock had their breaking and enterings. Hancock has made a great push to make itself a tourist destination and a haven for retirees. The Main Street Group and OBCA are working hard to make Hancock a great place to live. But how many retirees will seek out this town if their safety is not a concern? And why would anyone want to come visit if they know that one careless moment will be maliciously exploited? The dog park is planned for an area on the old carnival, behind the old carnival grounds. An area where quite a few houses priced at $250,000 and up are being constructed. This is also the area on October 13th a shooting took place. The person was shot at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they later died. This is an area where I frequently walk, and I'm often pushing a stroller with my granddaughter. I know for a fact that early in this summer, my friends spoke to the mayor and town manager about their concerns in that area. They believed that there was drug activity, but they were told that nothing could be done. And perhaps more of a police presence would have prevented the shooting. When I called the Hancock Police Department to report my stolen purse, there was a phone recording. I left a message and then I called town hall. I was told no one was working and they'd be in on Tuesday. Person took my name and number and said she'd give him a message. I've yet to receive a return phone call. I then called the sheriff's office. I was told that they were shorthanded, so I went over to Accomack to talk to a deputy, and that deputy had been an Hancock police officer. The Hancock Police Department staffing issues have been going on for years. These are not COVID related. They are not retirement related. They are the result of the town's failure to plan and budget for adequate coverage. Hancock has pursued a vision of a lovely town for tourists. Money and time has been spent on appearances. Even if grants and outside funding were paying for these things, as such things as the harbor master's house and the parking areas, the time spent on finding those grants could have been spent on finding some police funding. The safety of residents as well as tourists needs to be prioritized. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Bill?
Bill Burnham, 46 Kerr Street, president of the Hancock Business and Civic Association. I come to talk about Christmas in Hancock. In light of your comments, I just wanted to acknowledge that we are moving forward with Christmas celebration in town that is being supported and by the Hancock Business and Civic Association. As you may remember, last year, in light of COVID, the OBCA decided to suspend its homes tour and go with something that was more socially distant and appropriate for the times. And when we had to, when we faced the same question earlier this spring and into summer, it was decided to stick with that theme, namely a lights on the lawn Christmas tree display at Carr Place and a driving tour through Mount Prospect neighborhood that was attended by several hundred, up to 400 people who attended. And so we decided to take those two events and expand them a little bit and also start to weave in some of the elements of Christmas time past. So this year we are having our lights on the lawn at Carr Place with 30 trees that are up for adoption. OBCA has committed to purchasing tree stands, which doesn't sound like a big deal, except that it's kind of our signal that this is going to be something we hope to do year in and year out and make it easier for people who will ultimately replace us. And then the driving tour focused on Mount Prospect, but this year it's going to be town-wide. It will start at Historic Hancock School again, and it will proceed through Mount Prospect as it did last year, but then we'll incorporate the Market, Wharf, and King Street loop. It will move over from North Street to Kerr Street and down Kerr Street to the Northeast neighborhood, and then over to the Outlaw Shop. And all of our publicity will also highlight Hall Street, although we're still working on how to get people over there safely and turn around. So, but they will be part of all the publicity that we do there. So with that in mind, the overall picture, I just wanted to make sure the council, in case you were asked what's going on for Christmas and when this stuff happened. Some key dates, Friday, December 3rd is going to be the opening of Lights on the Lawn. on Friday, December 10th. It's going to be basically a variation of the second Friday art stroll, but we're working with Main Street. And they're calling their Friday events Fab Friday. So we just said, go ahead, call it Fab Friday. And we are reviving the Noel night tradition of caroling from the town park to the businesses. We've got a group of carolers who will be dedicated to that job, so we don't have to worry about people tailing off as they lose interest. And we're really working hard with Main Street to make this a shop in a Nancock night. Like if you need to come to get some Christmas gifts that are unique and interesting, this would be your night to do it. And then Saturday is the big day. It's basically morning. Santa is arriving by boat with his kayak reindeer. He'll be moving through town and then ultimately ending up at historic Nancock School where the Artisans Guild Craft Fair is happening. In the afternoon, the Cokesbury Music Festival, which is an outside event or their own entity, is happening from, I believe, 1 to 4. I think it's 2 to 4. And then in the evening, the Believe Christmas Driving Tour will kick off from historic Nancock School and tour the neighborhoods that I described. And it would be a 4 to 6 p.m. event, likely to last a little bit longer if we have as many people as we did last year. So OBCA has been working with the town to make arrangements regarding any kind of street closing or that sort of thing. I believe the Nancock Fire Department is on board for carrying Santa to town. And that should be the big day. And then on Sunday, December 12th is the Nancock Christmas Parade, which is a town event being supported by some OBCA volunteers. So we're doing a lot of the background or behind the scenes work contact. So that's kind of, I wanted to get that on the record and give you guys those dates. And if you have any questions, you can contact myself or Kim Moore from Nancock is helping organize this as well. And be happy to answer any questions you have about it. Yeah.
Would you just please be sure that the town office has detailed information and contact information? Because usually when there's an event that is not a town-sponsored event, and like this is an OBCA event, details are not available when someone calls. So please make sure that the town has just even an explanation of what lighting on the lawn is, that kind of thing, because it doesn't happen.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like a little cheat sheet for the front desk where you can just kind of look at it and refer to dates.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in my I'll put the calendar of events in my newsletter also. Working on.
I'm saying when someone answers the phone and they don't then say, I don't know. That's not good.
Hopefully it will be a great event, and a lot of people have been working for a number of months behind the scenes to get this going, and we're excited. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for all the work you do. Any other public comment?
Good evening. I'm Rick Turner, 3 on Nancock Street. I came tonight to speak on what has already been spoken about. I'm very concerned. I've lived here a number of years, and I have seen the police presence dwindle. I think what was said was probably more eloquent than I would have said. I probably would have gotten a bit angry. I also feel that we're working on one way, as the nice lady said, to promote a Nancock here and in other places, and yet the media in Virginia Beach and Norfolk is probably laughing at us because they're covering the kinds of things that are going on here. So this is not just something that's talked about here, but it's talked about on a very much wider scale. And it's deleterious to the town. And it's also upsetting when you think about small children, you think about teenagers out into the dark of night, you think about having to protect your home, your car. A very serious situation. I don't think it's been considered serious. I think it needs to be serious and not something that we hear somebody talk about and we say, well, thank you very much, please sit down. And I'm hopeful that the recent events have warned everybody here the impeding danger of this continuing. Thank you.
Is there any more public comment on specifically about policing? Good man, you want to comment?
I'm gonna say one quick thing, and then I was gonna have the chief close my report, but I'm happy to say now, when I first joined, we put together a 3-year plan for the police department so that we would have well-compensated officers that we weren't gonna lose due to competitive marketplace pricing. I presented that to council and they've adopted the budget where this is the first year. So we are starting to get the best compensated officers on the shore. So we shouldn't be losing them for marketplace reasons. The other thing that we did was we have a full budget for 5 officers. I'm going to let the chief talk about the hiring and all of that type of thing, but we have 4 officers on staff. 2 are at the academy. That's all there is to it. So, you know, we budgeted for 5. Council's appropriated funds to get those salaries elevated to the point where we're not going to lose them. And we've hired 2 new, and they're at the academy. So, yeah, the timing is terrible. But again, I'm going to let the chief finish up because we've also discussed internally some plans that we can put in place immediately, even before the officers come back from the academy.
If I could respond real quickly, the only issue I'm concerned about is that this is bigger than the local police force. The kinds of things that are happening with drugs need to be handled in a larger frame than just the town. And I'd like to know that something's being done in coordination with state police and with the county sheriff's office to see this as a larger problem. I am not sure, I may be wrong, but I think 3 drug-related events have taken place of some magnitude. And these are not minor kinds of things where schoolboys are smoking pot. And they demand a larger answer, not just hire more police.
Yeah, we have a serious issue. And I know the break-ins we had recently, there was a pretty tremendous police turnout for that. When I got up on, that morning, there were probably 10 cars in town from Accomack. But there again, there was break-ins, no one was killed or anything like that. Can't speak to the other incidents, they're still being investigated, but I think the chief can probably follow up. I was happy that the county really responded to those break-ins for quite a number. There were a lot of police officers here that morning. And, yeah, so, and I think there were a lot of, they had a police dog out trying to track and everything. They were definitely on it. But I'll let the chief speak to anything, he can tell you more about our manpower, like that. Eric?
May I make one comment
yeah.
before? Priscilla Hart, 21 Warrington Street. I was gonna walk here tonight. I drove. It's dark. And can you imagine? I wouldn't be 100% safe walking up the street to get here. But after what took place the other morning, I don't, it's just changed. And to think that I called the police the other day, I left a voicemail. Somebody called me back. I called at 7:30 in the evening, and the next day I got a call back at about 3:30 in the afternoon. That is not acceptable. We really have, I don't think we have protection here. And I thought, maybe we could have a neighborhood watch. Maybe we could do something. You know what? There's no neighborhood watch. Who is the neighborhood watch going to call? Who's going to respond when the neighborhood watch people see something? We need a quick response and we don't have it. So I don't know what the answer is, but this is really serious. I'm taking it extremely seriously. I think the businesses would be better off if they had burglar alarms. If they did, you'd have one shop burgled and they all run away because of the noise instead of 5. Is there a way ARPA money can be spent to do something like that? I have no idea, but we're spending money, we're getting money on a lot of things. And maybe we ought to look at that, or else at least hire a walk around patrol person or security people to, and while we don't have police, hire a security firm, hire somebody who will take up this role in the interim till we get these folks on board. Thank you.
First off, you are not getting your 5 officers. We don't have them. We're trying, but it's not by my choice by any means. We got 2 in school now. We're still looking for a 3rd. So meanwhile, out of 5, at least just 2. We're both working. I had a significant amount of time last pay period. She does as well. I'm taking COVID test at home when I'm sick because I have to come in because there's no one else to work. So we're trying our best. The 2 in school will get done. They'll be out on the street or try to fill the other positions. But used to be able to get applications an inch too thick. Applications, now we're getting 3. And it's not just us, it's all the other agencies on the shore. Everybody's starving across the bay, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Newport News, it's everywhere. Nobody wants to do this job anymore as of right now. But we're trying. Anything short of that, I don't know how to answer. We're rotating shifts, we're working nights later and earlier, depending on how you want to look at it. We're looking at cameras, putting out cameras to help with this issue, but it doesn't replace a person. There's no way around it. It just does not. But we're trying to fill these positions to the best of our ability. As far as I know, every agency on the shore right now is looking for officers, and it's not just us. And I'm sorry if there's more I can do, I would definitely do it.
Chief, may I ask a question? Because the crime happens, if you had 8 officers, it would still happen. In most cases, because you can't be everywhere
We deter.
given. My question is, what can we do as citizens and businesses for crime prevention? What do you find when you go to a crime that's not happening? Mrs. Smith said she left her purse in her car in her own driveway and acknowledged that was, but I remember leaving my purse in my car running and walk away an hour, not because I'm crazy, but just because I did something else. And it happens. And now we're living in a time where we can't do those things. And that to me is part of crime prevention. We can't do what we did 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we could leave the doors unlocked, open the windows. We can't do those things anymore. The world is changing. What would you suggest as crime prevention?
Of course, lock your windows and doors. Lighting helps. Lighting and
Something the town can help out with, right?
yes, yeah. Motion. Somebody pointed out. I never even thought of this. Something new to me. You pointed out motion light in your business. If I know that your business closes at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I go by there at 9 o'clock at night and there's a light on inside, a bright floodlight. It's not normally on, it's drawing my attention to look in. And will it just draw mine? It should draw anybody who walks by that knows the town. It makes us a difference. Knowledge, knowing. The other night, with all the break-ins, we believe it ended when the alarm went off. When they set off to business with the alarm. That's a big deterrent, audible alarm. Because one reason is there's people living around there. Somebody might look outside, so they run and they usually quit for the night. And for a while. Common sense, I guess, is the best thing. I ain't saying that nobody doesn't use it because every business that we dealt with had their doors locked. They just took the opportunity to look for weaknesses and found them.
So the 2 police officers who are at the academy, how long are they there for?
January 13th.
How long have they been there? How long?
They
is
left
their training?
September 30th.
So they're there for,
August 30th.
August 30th. Oh, sorry, August 30th.
so they're there for
So January, 4 months, 5 months.
5 months.
Mhm.
What's going to stop them when they come back accepting a position somewhere else for higher pay?
Nothing.
So we pay them while they're there. They can come back on January 14th and go to, say, export.
We have a contract with them.
We do, but
We do. They have to pay back a certain amount of their signing bonus, what they do, but it's $5,000. I mean, their contracts are public, so
Yeah.
they would have to pay us $5,000 if they choose to leave within 3 years.
So we pay them during their 5 months training. They could leave the day they're done and pay back how much?
5,000.
Has that happened?
No, everybody except for one person.
Yeah,
stayed.
they've stayed, and we had that one person that did leave inside their 3 years. We collected the prorated amount of their.
Oh, they have to stay for 3 years.
Yes.
And this is, this leaving after the academy is available to any officer, so not just ours, so any officer who
Yep.
goes through the process and gets recruited, sign-on bonus, let me get, everything that under the sun for that hot minute can happen to anybody. And I'm curious because I remember back a while ago when we did the visioning things and people were talking about, we have too many cops. Do you remember those?
Sure, I was one of the people saying that. We didn't have any,
How many did you have that they might have to send?
three, well, I mean, I remember when we had one officer here, back in, in the 70s, awesome, yeah, and then we had, what's his name, guy lived up, we had two for a while, but I don't think possibly had a gun, did he? I don't know, I'd like to get back to what Brenda said, and the break-ins concern me, but I think we can probably do something about that, pretty, alarms, lighting.
Buttered
And
lines.
I'm hoping there were kids, they're not, but, we had 2 murders in town, and, yeah, we've had 2 in the last year.
Yeah.
And both of them, that question is that, I mean, how many, if we had, twice as many officers, could we have prevented that? Yeah, I don't know, there were,
Yeah.
Roving patrols prevent that because
Yeah.
they don't know when the
Yeah.
patrol's coming around. right?
well, the guys, the people sit out here and they have a cell phone and they call their buddy when they see the cop car go by. I mean, I know they do that, if they're doing a drug deal, it's not, I agree with you, more would help, but, how many more, I don't know, we can't, how do we get them?
How do you get them? Can I?
Yeah.
I'm a retired firefighter from the state of New Jersey, professional firefighter. I was union president for 17 years, represented 70 men. We were the lowest paid fire department. I know it's fire department, not police. We were the lowest paid department in the county. My 23 years, when I was there, 17 years as president, I had 1 man leave. The reason why we retained our personnel was quality of life. Okay? We gave longevity awards for every 4 years. You got a 2% raise on your base pay. Okay? You accumulated your sick time for your entire career. And at the end of your career, when you retired on a pension, you got reimbursed up to $20,000 for that accumulated. You didn't get reimbursed for all of it, but you got reimbursed for up to $20,000. Another incentive is if an officer is working on a holiday, he gets paid time and a half for that entire shift instead of straight time because they don't get to enjoy their holiday with their family. There's a lot of quality of life things that can be done. More personal days can be offered when manpower permits. There's a lot of additional things that can be done. I mean, you said you're raising the pay. I think you said you're going to be in the top 3 on the shore, but giving someone the top pay doesn't necessarily mean they're going to stay here. It's the quality. I've been a fireman for 40 years, volunteering paid. I became a professional firefighter. I did it for 23 years. I did it because I wanted quality of life with my family. Okay, quality of life means be able to get a little bit more money when you retire, take time off when it's available to be with your family during daylight hours instead of nighttime hours. That's almost more important than the pay. So I think you need to look at not just the pay, but some of these quality of life items. That's what retains your employees. If you gave someone a 2% raise on top of their regular salary every 4 years just for staying here, That's a huge incentive because that 2% becomes pensionable at the end of your career. We collected up to 12% at the end of 24 years, additional pay on top of our regular raises. I mean, I thought it was amazing. I had 70 guys, one guy left to take a police job. And that's it, 70, and I come down here and I see people leaving left and right. I say, you guys are out of your mind. And then I look at the contracts and I'm like, no wonder they're leaving. You know, you really don't offer them. You need to offer quality of life, not just pay. Pay doesn't buy quality of life. Pay doesn't buy time with your family, time to go do sports with your daughter or son. It doesn't buy that. So you need to look at a little bit more than just the pay you're offering.
How did it transfer to the place in your area? What are they doing now? I mean, I know New York City can't find people either.
You want to know where I work? Okay,
How are the police doing?
the police, they have a list of like 25 waiting to be hired. So, and the police in the town that I work in, okay, they were one of the lowest paid in the county also. So there's a list of, you know, it's a proven fact that public employees don't do it for the money. They do it for the quality of life. It's a proven fact. They do it for the work schedule and they do it for the fringe benefits that come along with the crappy pay. So you need to look at something a little bit more than the pay that you're offering, because you tell someone, and most people after being at a job 8 years aren't going to leave. So if you can get them here 2% additional after 4 years, another 2% after 8 years, and it keeps on going, they're not going to leave. They become very comfortable after 8 years, and you're enticing them with a mere 4% over 8 years. That's a 0.5% extra a year, which, you know, to the taxpayer, it doesn't amount to a lot, but it amounts to a lot to the public employee. So that's.
I'd like to go back to these two officers during training. Once they come out of training, I understand that they have to be in a car with either you or him. So still, we're only at 2 police officers for how long?
They're required to do 240 hours,
240 hours.
which I do agree with. If we're giving them a gun and a badge and a car, we want to make sure they know what they're doing.
6 weeks.
How many officers Exmoor have?
7 or 8.
And they're the same size as we are, right? They're smaller.
They're close to it. I don't know, honestly.
But they have, okay.
Ooh, yeah, Kate Charles.
And do they have less crime than we do? I mean,
We usually run
Less
hand in hand.
speeders.
well, some other
Now.
officers are out on Route 13, and that's, we don't have to cover that, but I mean,
Crime was.
speeding is not a big problem here, I don't think.
Exmoor doesn't hand in hand.
1,500. Population 1,500.
Yeah, just curious. Well, I mean, I think that's some interesting ideas here. This is a serious problem. We need
And
to-
you said their training's over January,
13th, I believe.
so but it'll be March before we have 4 police officers.
Can we,
Right.
go ahead.
You know, going back 20 years, it was made clear that drugs were a big problem on the shore. And we're waterbound. So this is a perfect opportunity or place to do things like this. I don't know what the county does. I don't know what the state does. And I know that Onancock, as this little place, can't control the size of this problem. So somebody asked, what are we doing with the county and what are we doing with the state? Are they recognizing that the issue is well beyond almost any police force on the shore? And what are they doing to help us? Because we can't cope with this kind of problem.
Yeah.
And 20 years ago, Dave Simons was the police chief there somewhere, maybe that, and he had a dog, a police dog, a drug sniffing dog. And he was the first one to say, you've got a problem you cannot control here. I remember that very clearly. And nothing, to my knowledge, was ever made public if there was something going on. It was never made public. It was what can we do or what is being done? And we need to find out, and as a citizen, we need to know that there's something happening, that we don't have to be afraid. Fear is its own worst enemy.
Yeah. Currently, the state has a drug task force. They work Accomack County, Northampton County, everywhere. Task force is made up of troopers, town officers. Right now, the only municipality with an involvement is Accomack County next thing, Northampton County. So it's 4 guys, 4 people. They do actually a really good job, maybe as small as they are, but they're the main ones that handle the drug issues right now. They go for the hierarchy, not the lower guys. Because you take them out, the theory is you knock out more. In town, knock on wood, I can say we don't have users, but we don't have, that I know of course, I wouldn't know if they're big sellers or anything like that. It's middle people.
Okay.
That's municipality.
You don't have a drug problem if you don't have a big seller.
Yeah.
You
No,
gotta
no, no,
have
no.
a source.
Yeah.
So if
They
you've
say they're
got,
not in town. So,
Yeah.
they're not in- specifically in our town, the big sellers aren't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They drive through a lot of our B&Es and so on. A lot of them are passing through. I ain't gonna say all of them, but
our what?
our crimes are people passing through or visiting. That's a lot of it is visiting.
Still doesn't count.
Yeah, they're still here. I mean,
Could I just quickly say, big or little, doesn't matter if they have guns. Their size or their reputation in drugs doesn't matter. I'd like to think that everybody in law enforcement is aware of some of these things. I've heard for a number of years about Johnson Street, and I'll be honest. I mean, as far as I know, everybody in town knew there was drugs, and probably still are, drugs being bought and sold on that street. And I don't have any connections at all to any of it, and I've got all that information. So it seems if we know these things, we ought to be dealing with them. And if I know it, who's about as naive as you can get, then others should certainly know it, and that includes law enforcement.
I just want to make a comment. 4 years ago, I constantly lived in fear for the shooting directly at an angle across the street from my house, because it was always shooting there. And finally, the young man and his family was forced out because it was a rental house. And then last year it started all up again, and that person was forced out, and now the house is boarded up. It was finally boarded up this week. But I had been talking to the chief, I guess last year sometime, or maybe early this year, and he asked about me having a camera, and I didn't have one. And a few Sundays ago, I was at church, and a lady in my neighborhood goes to church with me, and her phone went off. And she immediately pulled out her phone and checked, and she says, "Oh, my husband let the dog out." Because I said, "How you know?" And she said, "I have a camera outside of my house, and whenever it's in motion, it causes my phone to go off." So last week I was on TV. I happened to see the same camera on TV. I got it for $60. I'm just waiting to get someone to put it up so that my phone can go off if somebody is doing something in my neighborhood where I live or near my house. Because guns are dangerous, believe me. I had a bullet go over my head July 5th, 2017. I will never forget it, as I was running up my driveway because someone had opened fire from the armory. And if I had been tall, I would have probably died because the bullet went straight over my head into the house next door. I was running. I heard it shooting. I was just getting home from church, and I ran. I mean, I didn't think to fall to the ground. So it can be really, really dangerous. But like I said, I do have that camera now, and I'm just waiting to find someone to put it up for me. And I put one on the back because the apartments are adjacent to me on the back side of my house, so that at least I will be able to have some evidence that somebody is there. You know, I mean, I got an alarm system in my house, but that's
fine, but it doesn't help what's going on outside. So I am trying to cover myself. I mean, if I have to give up a little something from somewhere else to spend that money, that's what I have to make myself be willing to do. Because we can't expect the police to be everywhere. I know I've had times that I have been really angry, because of the situation by my house, all the shooting that went on and me falling on the floor and my grandchildren, great-grandchildren screaming and hollering, but I wasn't doing enough to help myself. And so at least in this way, at least I would have a camera to be able to see what's going on outside of my house. And I brought the kind that is solar, so I don't have to run any electrical wires or anything. I just, that because of my age and whatever, I don't trust getting up on a ladder, so I've got to find someone to come and hook it up for me. But I mean, we have to, because we're not living like we were living in the 60s or the 70s or even 2010. Things have gotten really bad. And we can't lay all the blame at the police on the policemen. So
I don't think anybody's blaming the policemen. I think we're blaming the lack of police coverage.
well,
This has been an ongoing problem since 2016. People have been getting murdered in Onancock.
And the question is, are twice as many police officers, we have a limited amount, are they gonna solve that problem?
But
That's
you
what council
don't have a
needs to
full staff now, and you didn't have a full staff
Obviously,
then.
that needs to be corrected. There's no doubt that we need to get back to 5 officers, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. The question is, well, how do we solve this problem with, let's face it, we do have limited resources. Do we hire twice as many officers? Is that gonna solve the problem?
You might need to hire 1 or 2 more police officers.
Well, that solves the problem. I mean, we know that this person.
More patrols will cut down on your breaking and enterings and
Yeah,
burglaries and,
Yeah.
your outsiders coming into town to do drug deal, that'll cut, having more police on the road will cut that down. It's a proven fact. If you're progressive, you cut that down. Instead of being reactive, you need to be progressive. And I'm not saying you need to double your police force. You might need to have 1 or 2 more and that's it. But I don't think, when was the last time Onancock had a continuous, fully staffed police department?
Last year, before.
Yeah. It's not lasted very long.
It lasts, yeah, you're right.
It doesn't
No,
last.
but there's no question that we're budgeting for 5, we need 5, we're gonna get 5 back at some point, but the question is, what can we do? There's other things we can do, cameras, burglar alarms, quality of life, that doesn't cost us money, keep the officers, we need to have a serious discussion, this is a serious problem, we need to act on it and see what we can do. I don't know.
Just one other comment. You have the text messaging and email messaging. The town seems to put out text messages, emails when water service is interrupted and everything else, but nothing has been put out to say that there's been break-ins in town. You should lock your doors, lock your cars, don't leave your valuables in there. Nothing has been said about that. Nothing has been said to say, when there was the investigation going on Johnson Avenue, nothing went out to say, stay away from that area. There's a police investigation going on. You don't have to say there was a shooting. You just say, but nothing went out on that to let the residents of the town know. I mean, if you're gonna let them know about water outages, electric outages, problems in the town, you should let them know about everything. Because if we're short police, you don't need more people going there randomly, by mistake. Let them know to stay away from them. Let them know that places got broken into and you need to make sure your house is locked. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we all would like that. To know that there was a rash of break-ins or a rash of car burglaries of cars parked on Market Street, during the movie. We'd like to know that so that if we're there, it's a reminder, lock your cars. Don't leave your cell phones in the car. Don't leave your money in the car. I mean, it's just a reminder to the residents, a polite reminder.
But I have to say this because it really irked me when I read it, when I heard about it on Facebook, that, oh, don't worry, but Onancock only has 2 officers. That's why things are going on. You can't say that on a Facebook comment and expect.
I didn't say that. I said they only had two police officers. They only have two police officers on duty. That's what I said.
Okay.
I didn't say it was
Does
happening.
that say the door is open?
Everybody knows the door is
Don't
open.
you think these criminals
They
already
know.
know we don't have any police?
They
They all know
I
it.
know they know, but you don't
That's
have
why
to
they come here.
He wasn't the only one that said it.
There's other people, there's dozens of people who know this.
That's who was here. That's who I'm talking to. But that's what was said. I just don't think it's good to create that.
All right, well, we've got a serious issue and we're gonna tackle it. A lot of good ideas.
I have a different question for the chief.
Mhm.
I'm not sure I heard quite right or quite fully. Did you say that you're taking COVID tests at home?
I did, yes. Because I hadn't went to work, so I was feeling, my daughter was sick and I was sick. And of course, this day and age, first thing that pops in your head is COVID. It was negative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well, congratulations. Tough issue,
Need to discussion.
yeah, a lot of discussion, a lot of action. Yeah, all right. Okay, committee reports, HRSD.
I'll defer to Matt. I believe the ball is still in USDA's court with regard to the, hopefully the waiver of the grant that we received, but no word since you and I spoke last week.
I got an email this morning from USDA asking for the copies of the signed resolution, ordinance, and minutes when council approved the transfer of the property. So that says to me that they've checked all the other boxes. Hopefully this is the last. And we'll be able to get this done soon. So it's been sitting with USDA for 2 months now.
All right, that's all on the HRSD thing. You got some stuff in the report, right? Well,
Yeah, that's all on HRSD so far.
waterfront?
So waterfront committee met on the 12th. The marina is on schedule to close as of the end of this month, but we will be available for fuel sales simply by calling the marina office, and Craig will shoot down there and sell anybody fuel that does want fuel even after we close. We reviewed the financials. The marina is having a very good year this year. Expect to end up at least as strong as last year, if not a little bit better, which is a testament to the management down there this year. And I'll talk more about that in a second. The repairs to the boat ramp are finally completed, including the blacktop repairs on the approach to the ramp itself. Feedback so far has been strongly positive that the problem is solved. So hopefully we can close the books on that project. We finalized the leases on the overflow parking lot on King Street, as well as our annual rental of what we call the M1 slip behind Mallards for next season. So we will have both of those facilities available. We talked at length about the number of positive comments that Craig and his team and T. Lee got this year. I think we had a super staff, a superior staff, in my opinion. Everybody was so customer service focused. Having the golf carts available and the town car available was a huge plus, but also thanks to the OBCA for their continued help in shuttling people out to the highway, to the stores as they were needed. So the challenge is to do it again next year as well, if not better than we did this year.
Just one quick comment. That was a very strong and positive from people who have stopped in and said to me, and people who've been here from Fishing Bay Yacht Club this year and had not been here for 2 or 3 years because Onancock wasn't. Well, now they're saying it rivals any that they go to. So that was a really, really positive statement.
Any,
sorry.
progress or work on the TW situation?
I'll let Matt speak to where they are.
Yeah, as far as the concerns that were brought before waterfront, the T&W owners have addressed all of them. They hired a heavy equipment operator that's only working during the days, and weekends are few and very far between. They've gotten a shallow well dug so that they're sprinkling when they load and offload.
Okay, it's my understanding though that part of that installation work is done, but the rest will not be done for months to come.
I don't know what installation work, because there's a third phase that I haven't gotten to yet. So the sprinkling is in and operating. I've watched it and have pictures of it. The last part of it that they haven't gotten to is they talked about getting screening on the King Street side of the property with either landscaping or something to knock down the dust, even though they're sprinkling, they know that it's going to be an issue. They've got somebody working on design of, the issue is that their property isn't exactly conducive to plantings. So they're looking at what I'm going to call massive pots and things like that to try to figure out that they need to be able to move them, but they also need to be stationary and big enough to provide the screening. So they are working on that last step that I can speak to. They still are working with the planning. So they've got 2 of the 3 that are finished, and I know they're working on the 3rd.
Planning Commission met on last Tuesday, the 19th. We discussed potentially rezoning one lot on Pine Street from R1A to R1C to allow for manufactured housing. That one lot backs up to 5 existing lots on Pennywell, which are owned by the same owner and being marketing as a package. The consensus of the Planning Commission was that rezoning, assuming the owner would like to go forward with it, made sense given the other zoning of the other lots that they own. And it also provides another lot for more affordable housing in the northeast section of town. So that ball is in Matt's court with the owner to see if that moves forward. We discussed the rezoning of 4 parcels owned by the town to our designation of cultural, recreational, and community facilities. And that simply will match the current use of those properties. But more importantly, it allows us to then use ARPA funds for some of the park-related projects that we've discussed over the last couple of months. Talked about the potential for a road at Mary Lane where there's an existing paper road. Matt had done a lot of research with VDOT. It was the strong recommendation of the Planning Commission that, and we have 2 potential paper roads within the town, but that any developer must bring those up to current VDOT specifications in order to move forward on any development of those paper roads in town. So that process is still ongoing with the potential purchaser on Mary Lane. But if a road is constructed, it will be constructed to VDOT specifications so that we have the option to turn it over to VDOT at some point in time in the future. And last, but certainly not least, we had a brief discussion on the ongoing draft of the revisions to the homestay ordinance. It was the feeling of the Planning Commission that the draft that they have been working on for the last several months is in fact in final form. And I believe it's the intention of Matt and the Planning Commission to bring that to council for November for consideration. Nobody is completely happy. Nobody is completely mad. So maybe the mark of a good negotiation.
All right, thank you.
Can I just ask Bob a question, please? I brought to the town manager's attention a while back that the term manufactured home, and I never got back any redefinition, because redefining that is important because of how things are done now, and what is a manufactured home as opposed to prefab and or whatever else.
We're looking at, for Planning Commission next month, we're looking at that question because the rezoning prompted that. We've got a section in our code that allows for different homes in R1A, R1B, and R1C.
Right.
And because of the changing terminology and manufacturing process, we have to change that up. So, yeah, they're gonna be refining that. I didn't want them to be looking at more than Airbnbs right now, so they're gonna take that on, and then also the B1 district
That
is
was one of
next
the
on their
questions
list.
that I
Yeah,
spoke with you
and
about.
that's what prompted this.
The good news is I think Virginia code is up to date on those definitions, so we can simply
Oh,
Plagiarize, yeah, or reference their code and B1.
All right, thank you for the, planning commission. Personnel?
No.
You don't have anything? No. All righty, mayor's report, the only, the main item I have is the, unfortunately, Bob is, resigning at December meeting, correct?
Yes, unless you kick me off before then.
We can't. Anyway, I would like to propose a process to replace not only Bob, but future people that resign or at the worst case scenario, pass away in office, which we've had happen. Anyway, yeah, so I think after this meeting, we're going to advertise that there is an opening, and then anyone, or however we can advertise on the website, or that there is an opening, that they should submit their name to the town, that they were interested in that position. I don't know if you want, how much you want, or what kind of information you want. Because my process will be at the next council meeting to interview all the candidates in a closed session, which we can legally do. We'll have an interview with everybody, and then we'll come out of closed session. Can't do anything in closed session, vote on anything. Come out of closed session next meeting. If you want to, we can vote to appoint somebody then, or we can wait till the meeting when Bob leaves. So it's up to council. I don't think I think that sounds like a fairly good plan. Couple, one is if someone can't make the next meeting, if they're a candidate, and we do have a fixed meeting, we accommodate them, or they're just sort of out of luck. I don't know. So that was one question I had.
or if they submit the information.
Well, I guess we can't force them to come in to meet us, I mean, it's an interview, it's the law, but yeah, I don't know if you want, what kind of information would you like, with a little resume, or
Yes.
more just their interest in why they want to be on council?
Interest is nice, but I would like to see resume
Okay, all right, so we'll,
of their background experience.
right, and they can just, they can send that to Matt or me and take care of the town office. And
Yeah, after Bob submitted his letter of resignation, we did post the opening on the website. We've since received 2 notes or letters of intent. You've received both of those. You should, I have both. So you'll get both of those, but I'll reply to both of those folks to let them know that you'd like to see a resume. How far in advance of the meeting would you like to have that resume?
Well, probably a week ahead.
Week ahead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I will email them of the meeting.
Okay.
Give you the names.
Are you going to do the closed session before or after the council meeting? Do you want to do it earlier? Okay, all right, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that we let
Unless
folks
somebody
know
knows
that it's
there's
going to be
problem with it.
late.
Yeah, it could be, well, we're gonna, it could be a, 15-minute interview. We're not gonna take, we're not gonna,
Okay, so it's
I mean, a lot of it's
a
done
normally
like that
scheduled
anyway.
time slot for closed sessions. It's
Yes.
not before. Okay, yeah.
And I guess that's somewhat, well, I guess we could do, it's gonna be an indeterminate time for them. They're gonna have to sit here,
That's what I was getting at.
yeah, think about that. Well, that's a.
Well, that's
Yeah,
a
good introduction.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the job you're going for, so.
right, yeah.
When you're on council, you're here for the duration.
Right, yeah, that's right. All right, does everybody agree with that process? Any problem with that? Okay, all right. Okay, so that's about all I have really. And I guess we're getting geared up for Christmas and. Huh?
I said, yes, we are.
Yeah, all right. All right, okay, town manager report.
I was just gonna say, in your report, I sent you a note about, you said something about a December meeting, and
Oh,
You did, and
Usually
that, you're
cancel.
right, that tradition says that we normally vote to cancel the December meeting. If Bob is stepping off at the end of that December meeting and we've got an appointment to be made, we're gonna have to consider the fact that we're probably not
carry over.
traditionally not going to have a December meeting, so it's either gonna be an action taking place in January. What do you? Is that right?
We haven't
that
had,
last
we
year.
haven't had, no,
Yeah, I think we did meet.
We did
Yeah, we
last
did.
year.
It never.
Well, was it?
Yes, we used to
canceled December meetings for.
We have canceled them before, but we started kind of, the last couple of years.
Okay, we got some stressing issues, fine.
I don't have a problem meeting, yeah. It could be a short meeting. I don't personally like to cancel meetings, but, you know. People have to go
I
60
just
days.
wanted to bring that up.
I mean, it's the Monday, it's Monday before, it's on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about as far away as you can get from it, yeah. Yeah. We don't have a quorum, we don't have a quorum.
Or the fourth Monday is the 27th. Have we already determined the 20th?
We typically move it,
We moved it, yeah.
yeah, that part has already been moved, so it's already been moved to the 20th. And now, you know, the question on the table is, are you going to continue to meet on the 20th?
Yeah.
You know,
I would like to meet it, so, you know, council.
I would as well.
Huh? Does anybody have a problem with meeting?
Well, we don't know yet.
Well, I mean, you know, I mean, you sign up for 12 meetings, I think we need to come to 12 meetings. That's all.
It's fine by me.
And if it was the day before Christmas, it's a different story, but we moved it away from it now. All right,
Okay.
Matt?
Yeah. So y'all got my written report, but so I'm only going to touch on a couple of the highlights. HRSD, I already did give that update that I think we're under the bend with that transition. Everybody's reviewed it. The lawyers are ready. We're just sitting back waiting for the release document from USDA. So there's that. Tax season in town here is underway. We've gotten our data back finally from the county. We submit it to our software company, they mush the data around, and then we turn around and print the bills. So those will be printed in all likelihood end of this week, very early next for immediate mailing. They're due on December 6th.
May I ask why we are now putting our own tax?
Because we have a different charge. If you remember, we eliminated decals.
Yes.
So the fact that we're now adding a motor vehicle license fee in town is different than the county's data allows. So there's that. The small business recovery grant, if you remember, we secured a grant for $450,000 about a year ago for town businesses. We've distributed to 31 businesses, 340, projected to distribute to 31 businesses, $346,254. That is a bucket of money. We are thrilled to have distributed it. There's one person in the office who gave incredible effort to this. So I'm disappointed, A, that she's not feeling well, but she's listening, and I wanted to give her very public thank yous for the incredible effort and support she gave to all of our local businesses. I think if you talk to any of our applicants, you will hear that Lisa was patient and walked them through a potentially arduous process to make it as easy as possible to receive a lot of money. So that's a public thank you, and we've got something else coming, Lisa, as well. While I'm thanking staff, the Department of Public Works, you know, was down a person. And even though Terry got a few days of support each month, Terry has carried the ball for this town's Department of Public Works on his own shoulders. And I don't think the town has looked better. I don't think the town has done better. I think mechanically, I think aesthetically, he has done a fantastic job. And I wanted to also make sure that we say a big, big thank you to Terry. So if you see him, stop him. He's not afraid to talk. Say thank you. And he is one of a kind, and we think the world of him. One of the other things that's in your report was a proposal that I wanted you to consider. It's in an informal presentation for this very reason. I wanted to make sure that I had consensus of council before I moved forward with anything. But the idea was this: is the school is still our property, even though it's on a long-term lease, and the maintenance of that facility and property is required as part of the lease for the school. That is a massive, massive patch of grass to cut. And quite frankly, they contract with a similar person that we all contract with, and it gets done once every other week, maybe.
So the grass is getting tall, the field is not very useful because of it, because you can't kick a soccer ball across tall grass. And also the burrs are problems, because if you cut grass more often and shorter, burrs don't have a chance to grow and then drop and cause problems for all of our feet and our dogs' feet. So my suggestion, and I've walked this through with Joni, and I'll read you her response to my suggestion here in a minute, is that now that we have the dog park, which is also a pretty big patch of grass to cut, that between that and the school, we have big enough property where we need to upgrade our equipment to a better piece of equipment. We currently outsource some of our smaller parcels of grass. The Northeast Park up by the blacksmith shop, we've got parcels that go up by the entryway sign, little things like that. We outsource that to the same people that the school outsources their grass cutting. Between the two of us, we pay that company about $11,000 a year to cut our grass. What my suggestion is that the town purchase a lawnmower sufficient to cut these two parcels of grass, and we take on the grass cutting at the school for the same fee that they currently pay their outsourced lawn service. So they would have budget consistency, but we would commit to cutting their grass once a week, like we cut our own grass once a week. That'll help with the field, it'll help with the burrs, it'll help them because they'll have a fixed price budget going forward. If we don't outsource and they pay us what they currently pay, that's $11,000 a year. If we buy the appropriate lawnmower, and I talked to Devin out of Fairdale, and it's just under $20,000 for that mower, and we get a 3-year commitment, we will pay for that mower by itself in 2 years, and then the 3rd year we'll be able to provide a maintenance program so that we continue to take care of that mower in a way that we should be taking care of our equipment. So my proposal is this: spend up to $20,000, which is already budgeted. This isn't a budget ask. This is just using budgeted dollars already for the purpose of buying that equipment and providing the lawn service to the school for a minimum of 3 years for the same price that they currently pay, which will help the school, it'll help us, it'll keep our employee busy, because quite frankly, when we get our next DPW employee, this is going to help fill their time and take care of our property. So that's my request. And Joni sent me this note that said, Historic Hancock School welcomes this partnership with the town to enable the purchase of a new lawnmower to better facilitate the beautification of town properties, including our campus. HOS is a vital green space open to all citizens and visitors to enjoy, picnic, recreate, play soccer, football, disc golf, walk the trail, socialize, gather to learn, watch a movie, or listen to music. Increasing the mowing schedule to weekly will certainly help eliminate the sandburr scourge, will definitely increase our rental income with events and sports, and also enhance the visitor experience to the thousands of users. All of this enhances the visitor experience and is a positive reflection on our town. So that is my proposal. It's already budgeted. Go ahead now.
Where?
It's in capital expenditures in the landscaping department. I can point that out for you and give you a line number and all that type of thing while I'm not sitting here ruffling through papers.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Question,
sure.
with that amount of additional grass to cut, you feel confident that the Terry currently and an additional person will be able to say grace over all of that?
Yes, I
and the
do.
other tasks?
Yep, and the reason that I can say that is I was the person who was cutting the dog park on the current tractor, and I know exactly how long it takes. So, and that's actually good research information. So I also know how long it takes the lawn service to cut the school. And I know that we would have equipment that's comparable or slightly better than that equipment. So I know how many hours it is. I know how many hours it takes for Art. So yes, I think and Terry is no longer by himself. Effective Monday, Craig transitions over from the wharf into DPW. So he's no longer, carrying it all on his own shoulders. So yes, 40 hours a week for 2 people, this fits nicely in there. Okay, thank you. That's a good question.
What about other town properties, like Samuel Outlaw?
We would be doing that as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
and are there others? Is that it? Are those the only 2?
It's like the landing park, currently we outsource, the Outlaw, we currently outsource, the Northeast Park, we currently outsource, the welcome, I call it the welcome sign, the entryway sign. That's the little patchy bits. We currently cut, I'm not even kidding, we cut across the street from the entryway park, but we don't cut the entryway park. So it's really, it's
But we wouldn't have
weird.
to pick up any more additional other than the school.
Correct. And what we currently pay to outsource, we're gonna take in-house. So we're gonna save the $6,800 a year that we currently pay that person. And
Would we still purchase a $7,000 lawnmower in 2024?
yeah, that's a smaller mower that we've got. So in a couple of years, the little zero turn that we use for those smaller pieces is probably gonna need to be replaced. No. So we'll have 2 mowers, one larger, one smaller. The smaller one we already own.
I know you're supposed to get 3 bids though, you're gonna do that?
Yeah, I will. I just talked to him because he was right there. And I just wanted to find out what it would cost,
If it's under 25,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's up to them, it's up to pick which bid he wants. It comes back to us.
Right.
All right.
Next thing would be
Any problems? What he wants to do?
I think it makes sense.
okay, if I can make sense every now and again, that's a win. The next one is the Northeast grant update. I'm gonna say Friday, Joy, I don't remember what day, but you had asked me to get an update from Eric at ANPDC. I got that update with the updated spreadsheet today. With what we were waiting on, just so everybody's familiar, is the last application that we put forward to the Northeast grant was denied because we didn't have the proper number of surveys. I'm going to say ANPDC did not secure the right number of surveys that we needed for that application and was immediately denied. So at that point, we've gone forward and we've been soliciting these surveys. We've had a lot of local folks trying, and basically what I was trying to do with Eric is saying, you didn't get them the first time. What makes you think you're going to get them now? Is there anything we can do? So what they've done is they've added the Pine Street apartments to the, I want to call it a zone. What do I call it?
Area.
The area that's the grant pertains to. So they've added the Pine Street apartment, which puts us over the 51% LMI, which is low to moderate income requirement. The spreadsheet, and I've got copies of this for all of you, shows every house, who submitted it, who didn't submit it, how many we need, what more are required. And then he tells me in the cover that says it includes the Pine Street apartments. They are confirmed LMI. I'm working with so-and-so to gather the surveys from the residents at Pine Street. We will be at 51% with them, and we'll apply for the grant the week of Thanksgiving. So I've asked him, is there anything else other than these surveys that you need in order to submit a successful application? He has said no. So at this point, I think we have pushed him as hard as we can push him. And ANPDC is a great local organization. We've partnered with it for a long time, and I think they're going to do a stand-up job on this. And I think we'll have good news after we get this applied for properly.
So we'll meet the deadline.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And at that, I think you've listened to me yammer on long enough. Any questions? All right.
All right. We don't need a closed session. Council comments? Madam?
Nothing other than good work by everybody at the town. I think we are on a wonderful trajectory at the moment, absent the crime issues, which are very real, but lots of positives going on. So my thanks to everybody involved.
I do want to say thank you to Chief Eric and Officer Kim, because without you, we'd be at 0. So hang in there with us, please, I mean, and I really think we're going to get a handle on this. It has been worrisome. The weekend I talked to you about the dead fox in my yard, I was like, what?
By far, we're not in the area, not comparing us to anyone else, but I know, Newport News is like 50% of their people. It's just,
Norfolk and Virginia Beach are running ads on the radio with $5,000 signing bonuses.
and they're taking
On the radio.
18, which is unheard of.
Yikes.
Hang in
Yeah,
there.
right.
I like the idea of the text going out. I really do.
That's
I-
something we can implement right away.
You
That's
don't
a-
have to
that's-
give us details.
No, that's fine.
But,
I think it's
I
a
heard
great
about this
suggestion.
walking out of
The only
the
thing I
Main
worry about
Street
is-
meeting
is
from
that
the
it would
resident.
attract people to the site.
That's,
Well-
When I was a kid, we listened to the scanner all the
Yeah,
time. As soon
rubber
as we heard about
necklace,
anything,
problem.
we were heading out to that location, even though they said don't go there. But I don't think that's going to be an issue. Yeah.
I'll get-
you got some of them that show up still now, this
Yeah.
day and age will be in an accident and.
Well, that's a skill here on the scanner, yeah. But you we need to know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Chief and I will craft
Yeah.
a standard message for when we have issues like that, and we'll get it out.
How many people
I can
are
get it out
receiving
pretty
that?
immediately. I have 213 text message
Okay.
contacts and about 400 emails.
Are they all in the town or can anybody sign up for it?
Well, theoretically, anybody can sign up for it, but I don't know of many people that are in the audience that want to know when our water's going to be flushed.
All right, well, that's good. That's something we can do. And burglar alarms, and if there's any way we can push that.
I have an idea
Can we
that
use COVID
we,
money to help them?
I have an idea that might, if
And cameras, we could.
we could find a way to purchase the cameras if the issue is an internet connection.
Right.
So if the business would let us install it so that we could get their internet connectivity, then maybe we could create a little partnership to help. So that's in the works. The other thing that's in the works that Chief didn't talk about was we're putting together a workshop for business safety. We've got the agenda all set. He's got a PowerPoint that we're refining because it's a PowerPoint. I hate those things. But so we're working through it. We're going to invite all of our business owners to find out literally what tangible, simple things we can do to help the business and help our neighbors. So all of those things are in work. So I don't want anybody to think that this is going on deaf ears. We are working on this, and we do have, I think, some pretty interesting ideas to help.
Maple?
I just want to thank Matt for this detailed town manager's report, because it really saved a lot of time and made, and I got a lot of information that we would have had to go over and over. So I think it saved a lot of time. And Chief, I do appreciate the scheduling and regularity of patrols. So I know that I can take my dog out at 11 o'clock at night and I'm going to say hey to Kim. And I appreciate that.
Just a note that last Wednesday, there was a bunch of Main Street activity. A guy from Richmond from the state level and a guy from the National Main Street Organization were both here and met with various groups throughout the day. They reported that there were, I think it was 276 responses to the survey. That included people in town, people in the 23417 zip code, but not in the town limits, people elsewhere on the shore, and people from other places. And they had to break down obviously the biggest group were people right in town. But a lot of ideas about what to capitalize on, where to focus, what kinds of things to do. And they, with the input that they got, they're going to be presenting some more specific ideas tailored to here for ways to move forward. I have not seen that further information yet, though.
I just want to say thank you to Matt. Eric had called me and had me assign 3 streets and I went door to door with new surveys. And thankfully, some of those people did respond, so to know that, they are included in the Pine Street Apartments is a big, big help. And now that we know that we're gonna go ahead with that. One other thing I just want to bring up, I'm still waiting for you to give me a date for committee for the Northeast Playground, because I have been taking my great grandchildren to the one by Onancock School every other Saturday, and they love it. So to have a duplicate up on my end would be perfect.
Well, that's a big ask, but I'm waiting until, as soon as the application for the project grants filed, I'm gonna tap the street captains that are working on that to help me with this, so.
I don't have anything else to. Halloween is Saturday night, right? Or here in town.
Yeah, there's a couple things going on. There's a little kid carnival over at the school. There's the pumpkin carving in Town Square, and then trick or treating from 5 to 8.
5 to 8.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have our candidate guys gonna help us out a little bit? Please?
Yes. Oh, yeah, they'll be back. They'll be back for that and Christmas.
Yeah, okay. That's good. Okay, all right. I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
If you have a reason, then now's the time. Right now, you don't have a reason. It's going out. Hey, bro. Thank you.
I have more ideas.
Well, I do, because I'm gonna get personnel committee to talk about it. I don't need.
Okay. Yeah, I can dig